The first season of the fantasy drama television series Game of Thrones premiered on HBO on April 17, 2011 in the US and concluded on June 19, 2011. It consists of 10 episodes, each of approximately 55 minutes. The series is based on Game of Thrones, the first novel in the Song of Ice and Fire series by George R.R. Martin, adapted for television by David Benioff and D.B. Weiss. HBO had ordered television pilot in November 2008. Filming began the following year. However, it was deemed unsatisfactory and later reshot with some roles recast. In March 2010, HBO ordered the first season, which began filming in July 2010, primarily in Belfast, Northern Ireland, with additional filming in Malta. The story takes place in fantasy world, primarily upon continent called Westeros, with one storyline occurring on another continent to the east known as Essos. Like the novel, the season initially focuses on the family of nobleman Eddard Ned Stark, who is asked to become the King's Hand, chief advisor, to his king and longtime friend, Robert Baratheon. Ned must find out who killed his predecessor, Jon Arryn, while trying to protect his family from their rivals, the Lannisters. He uncovers the dark secrets about the Lannisters that his predecessor died trying to expose. Meanwhile, in Essos, the exiled Viserys Targaryen, son of the former king, seeks assistance alongside his sister Daenerys in his attempts to gain back his perceived rightful claim to the Iron Throne. Game of Thrones features large ensemble cast, including established actors such as Sean Bean, Mark Addy, Peter Dinklage, Lena Headey, Nikolai Coster-Waldau, Michelle Fairley, and Ian Glenn. Newer actors were cast as the younger generation of characters, such as Emilia Clarke, Kit Harington, Sophie Turner, and Maisie Williams. Critics praise the show's production values and cast. Dinklage's portrayal of Tyrion Lannister received specific accolades, as did Bean and Clarke, as well as Ramin Djawadi for music. The first season won 2 of the 13 Emmy Awards for which it was nominated: Outstanding Supporting Actor in Drama Series, Dinklage, and Outstanding Main Title Design. It was also nominated for Outstanding Drama Series. U.S. viewership rose by approximately 33% over the course of the season, from 2.2 million to over a million by the finale. Episodes cast: Main cast starring Jason Momoa as Khal Drogo. Guest cast: The recurring actors listed here are those who appeared in Season 1. They are listed by the region in which they first appear. Production: HBO originally optioned the rights to Song of Ice and Fire in 2007, at which time David Benioff and D.B. Weiss were identified as the project's writers and executive producers. The first and second drafts of the pilot script, written by Benioff and Weiss, were submitted in August 2007 and June 2008, respectively. While HBO found both drafts to their liking, pilot was not ordered until November 2008. With the 2007 to 2008 writers' Guild of America strike possibly delaying the process. Benioff and Weiss served as main writers and showrunners for the first season. They contributed 8 out of 10 episodes, including one co-written with Jane Espenson. The 2 remaining episodes were written by Brian Cogman and Song of Ice and Fire author George R.R. Martin. Tom McCarthy directed the original pilot, but much of this was later reshot by Tim Van Patten as the pilot was reworked into the first episode of the complete season. Van Patten also directed the second episode. McCarthy is still credited as consulting producer for the series' first episode. Brian Kirk and Daniel Minahan directed 3 episodes each, and Alan Taylor directed the final 2. Before Game of Thrones, both Benioff and Weiss worked in film, and were unfamiliar with working on television show. This resulted in several first-season episodes being about 10 minutes too short for HBO, forcing them to write another 100 pages of scripts in 2 weeks. Due to lack of budget, the new scenes were designed to be inexpensive to film, such as two actors conversing in one room. Binoff and Weiss noted that some of their favorite scenes from the first season were the results of the dilemma, including one between Robert and Saoirse Baratheon discussing their marriage. Casting on May 5, 2009, it was announced that Peter Dinklage had been signed on to star as Tyrion Lannister in the pilot, and that Tom McCarthy was set to direct. On July 19, 2009, number of further casting decisions were announced, including Sean Bean being given the role of Ned Stark. Other actors signed on for the pilot were Kit Harington in the role of Jon Snow, Jack Gleeson as Joffrey Baratheon, Harry Lloyd as Viserys Targaryen, and Mark Addy as Robert Baratheon at the beginning of August 2009. It was revealed that Catelyn Stark would be portrayed by Jennifer L. On August 20, more casting announcements were made, including Nikolai Coster-Waldau as Jaime Lannister and Tamsin Merchant as Daenerys Targaryen, as well as Richard Madden in the role of Robb Stark, Iain Glen as Ser Jorah Mormont, Alfie Allen as Theon Greyjoy, Sophie Turner as Sansa Stark and Maisie Williams as Arya Stark. On September, Lena Headey was announced as Cersei Lannister. On September 23, Martin confirmed that Rory McCann had been cast as Sandor Clegane. Isaac Hempstead Wright was confirmed as Bran Stark on October 14, followed by an announcement of Jason Momoa as Khal Drogo 3 days later. After the pilot was shot and the series picked up, it was announced that the role of Catelyn had been recast, with Michelle Fairley replacing Elle. Later, it was also confirmed that Emilia Clarke would replace Tamsin Merchant as Daenerys. The rest of the cast was filled out in the second half of the year, and included Charles Dance as Tywin Lannister, Aridon Gillen as Petyr Littlefinger Baelish, and Conleth Hill as Varys. Filming the pilot episode was initially filmed on location in Northern Ireland, Scotland, and Morocco by Tom McCarthy between October 24 and November 19, 2009. However, the pilot was deemed unsatisfactory and much of it had to be reshot together with the other episodes of the season in Northern Ireland and Malta. Most scenes were shot in Northern Ireland and Republic of Ireland border counties. Principal photography was scheduled to begin on July 26, 2010, with the primary studio location being the Paint Hall Studio in the Titanic Quarter of Belfast, Northern Ireland. Among various locations for the initial shooting of the pilot in 2009, Doune Castle in central Scotland was used as the location for Winterfell, including scenes at its Great Hall. The Great Hall was later recreated in Soundstage in Northern Ireland. Additional filming locations included Cairncastle at Larne, Shane's Castle, and Tullamore Forest Park, all in Northern Ireland. In the 2010 shooting of the series, Castle Ward was used as Winterfell instead of Doune Castle, with Cairncastle for some exterior Winterfell scenes. The set for Castle Black was built at Magramorn Quarry. The show's presence in Northern Ireland and use of Paint Hall created hundreds of jobs for residents, and made the area a hub for film and television production. The King's Landing exterior scenes were shot at various locations in Malta, including the city of Mdina and the island of Gozo. The filming in Malta resulted in controversy when protected ecosystem was damaged by subcontractor. Music. The soundtrack to Game of Thrones was originally to be composed by Stephen Warbeck. On February 2, 2011, only 10 weeks prior to the show's premiere, it was reported that Warbeck had left the project and Ramin Djawadi had been commissioned to write the music instead. The music supervisor of Game of Thrones, Evian Klein, first suggested Djawadi to Binoff and Weiss as the replacement for Warbeck, and although Djawadi was reluctant as he had other commitments at that time, they managed to persuade Djawadi to accept the project. To give the series its own distinctive musical identity, according to Djawadi, The producers asked him not to use musical elements such as flutes or solo vocals that had already been successfully used by other major fantasy productions. He mentioned that challenge in scoring the series was its reliance on dialogue and its sprawling cast. On several occasions already scored music had to be omitted so as not to get in the way of dialogue. Djawadi said that he was inspired to write the main title music by an early version of the series' computer-animated title sequence. The title music is reprised as global theme in the rest of the soundtrack, initially infrequently and as part of the theme of individual characters, then in full towards the end of season during particularly important scenes. Reception. Critical response. Anticipation for the series was described by various media outlets as very high, with dedicated fan base closely following the show's development. By April 2011, multiple entertainment news outlets had put it at the top of their lists of television events to look forward to in 2011. The majority of reviews for the first season were very positive, with critics noting the high production values, the well-realized world, compelling characters, and giving particular note to the strength of the child actors. Tim Goodman's review for The Hollywood Reporter stated, "Few minutes into HBO's epic Game of Thrones series, it's clear that the hype was right and the wait was worth it." Mary McNamara from the Los Angeles Times called it a great and thundering series of political and psychological intrigue bristling with vivid characters, cross-hatched with tantalizing plot lines and seasoned with splash of fantasy. New York Post's Linda Strussi gave Thrones 3.5/4 stars stating, "The art direction, acting and incredible sets are as breathtaking as the massive scope of the series." Many critics praised Peter Dinklage for his portrayal of Tyrion Lannister, with Ken Tucker from Entertainment Weekly stating, "If Dinklage doesn't get an Emmy for his clever, rude Tyrion Lannister, I'll be gobsmacked." And Mary McNamara from the Los Angeles Times stating, "If the man doesn't win an Emmy, heads should certainly roll." The first season of Game of Thrones has Metacritic average of 80 out of 100 based on 28 critic reviews, categorized as generally favorable. On Rotten Tomatoes, the first season has 91% approval rating from 38 critics with an average rating of 8.37 out of 10. The site's critical consensus reads, "Its intricate storytelling and dark themes may overwhelm some viewers, but Game of Thrones is transportive, well-acted, smartly written drama even non-genre fans can appreciate." Ratings. The first episode attracted 2.2 million viewers its initial airing on April 17 in the U.S., and totaled 5.4 million viewers across multiple Sunday and Monday night airings. It averaged 743,000 and reached peak 823,000 in UK and Ireland on its April 18 premiere. HBO announced that they would be commissioning second season on the strength of the reception of the premiere episode. By the final episode of the season, which aired June 20, the ratings had climbed to over a million. Accolades. The first season of Game of Thrones was nominated for 13 Emmy Awards, including Outstanding Drama Series, Outstanding Directing for Drama Series Tim Van Patten for Winter is Coming, and Outstanding Writing for Drama Series, David Benioff and D.B. Weiss for Baylor. It won 2 Outstanding Supporting Actor in Drama Series, Peter Dinklage, and Outstanding Main Title Design. Dinklage, who plays Tyrion, was also named Best Supporting Actor by the Golden Globes, the Scream Awards and the Satellite Awards. Release. Broadcast. Game of Thrones premiered on HBO in the United States and Canada on April 17, 2011, and on Sky Atlantic in the United Kingdom and Ireland on April 18, 2011, with same-day release on HBO Central Europe. The series premiered in Australia on Showcase on July 17, 2011. Home media. The first season of Game of Thrones was released on DVD and Blu-ray disc on March 6, 2012. The set includes extra background and behind-the-scenes material, but no deleted scenes, because almost all footage shot for the first season was used in the show. HBO released Collector's Edition DVD Blu-ray combo pack of the first season, which includes resin-carved dragon egg paperweight. The set was released in the United States and Canada on November 20, 2012. The first season was released on 4K on Blu-ray on June 5, 2018. References external links Game of Thrones. Official US site Game of Thrones. Official UK site Game of Thrones. The Viewer's Guide on HBO.com. Making Game of Thrones on HBO.com. List of Game of Thrones episodes on IMDb. List of Game of Thrones episodes at TV.com. Game of Thrones season at Rotten Tomatoes.